doing amazing work and who have done amazing things. However, I was just trying to highlight that you are someone from the community, and the
you give back to the people. You're always integrated with the people in terms of benefiting
I think
them.
it's more about what I wanted to highlight. What I want to continue from last week.
Yes.
That it is possible to start off
from nothing
with no or little money.
Yeah.
Okay. As long as you're willing to do the graft, as long as you have the willpower.
100%. 100%.
I think from that, I think see, a lot of people, they don't want to do the things that you got to do. You know what I mean? Because it's of how it looks. They don't want to be seen doing certain things. But Abu, if you probably can relate with certain businesses, even yourself, Tarek, with certain businesses, it's you got to do the nitty gritty. You got to do the dirty work. You got to do the things no one wants to do to really see. You got to take it in steps and stages. You can't really miss anything when starting.
Listen, if all of us are blessed with starting at the top, then obviously life would be easy to get it. So everyone, or each one of us that wants to, be successful in business, then all of us have to start at the bottom. Yeah. Everyone does to get it, from whether you're doing what we're doing or you've got a takeaway business. Everyone has to start at the bottom, and obviously you put the graft in, you see the long hours, you go see clients, you pick up phone calls, at weird times of the day. But whatever you need to succeed, you will do because you want your business to be successful. So my mentality is, I will never let a customer go. So even if you ring me at 11 o'clock at night, my customer gets the same service that you would get when I'm active at 10 a.m. in the morning. Does that make sense? Because for me, a customer is a customer. My phone is on 24 hours a day. Obviously, no one rings after 12 o'clock, but generally my phone is active for whoever wants to get hold of me in terms of what the services that we provide in terms of energy to get it. So that's me to get it. I'm driven, I'm motivated, and after a bit, the money level is always there. After a bit, it dies down a bit because then it's about success. Because my mentality is, don't chase the money, save the success. Because if you work hard, you deliver, and you're doing work, and you're working hard, then the money will follow. Do you get it?
So, quick one, Abu.
That's the way we think.
Of course, 100%. So, Abu, what you're saying essentially is that you have to develop a good rapport. You have to develop your services in a good light. Like you said, you provide the service 24/7, and it's availability to yourself. And not only is it the business you're selling, but it's a representation of who you are and what you want to accomplish for people in terms of.
You have to at the start, innit, bro, to get it. Because obviously, initially, like Tarek knows from last week, I was saying we were knocking on doors. I've got the same clients that used to knock on doors that used to say no to me. Now these guys need my services regularly. Does that make sense? But obviously we had to work hard initially to prove to people out there that, look, I'm credible, I can do what I can deliver what I'm saying. And then eventually they gave me an opportunity, and then my foot was in the door, and then one door led to another door and opened another door, and that I got a referral off another referral, if that makes sense.
So Abu, what I'm getting from this is that you weren't discouraged at the no's you received at the start. You still pressed on. What kind of mentality did that take? Like, how did you feel about that? Like, being discouraged from doors, you're knocking door to door. It must have been tough. People are saying, no, you're trying to start something, something going for yourself. So how was that? Like, that's very inspirational. Like, not to give up on the first no. Do you know what I mean? So what's your views on that?
No, alhamdulillah. One is obviously blessings from Allah. Du'as obviously of my mom, my parents, so that's important. But obviously what it was is we knew what our business can achieve. And I was telling Tarek, remember Tarek, last week I was saying, if you knock 100 doors, will 5 doors open? Yeah, Tarek, remember? And when you knock as much doors as possible, so my guys in our mini call center, they do, today example, I'm looking at the screen, they've done 158 calls, someone done 103 calls, someone done 185 calls, someone done 214 calls. But these guys have all made calls, but they've had no luck. Imagine, you get it? So it's just about having the trust of the system. If you knock the doors, you make the effort, you say the right things, that customer will bed you in and make time for you. And eventually, hopefully, we had faith that, you know what, inshallah, we will get there to get it. We will open doors and we will get there. And now, 7-8 years later, alhamdulillah, you know what I mean? We started with one, and now we're blessed, obviously. We've got guys calling customers for us, alhamdulillah.
Excellent. That's absolutely brilliant, Abu. So Tarek, yourself at the moment, so I know that you're involved in the youth work. Obviously you're all managing a business as well. Tell us a bit about that. Like, how do you manage to spare the time? Like, what gives you the, how do you manage to split the time accordingly?
Yeah, well, for me, my situation is quite different to many, or maybe in similar to many in different ways. Okay, I know that's confusing, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. Elaborate for us.
Life can be confusing at times, but we just have to go along with it and figure it out. It is how it is, But so I am a youth worker, and I do manage a business, and I try to be involved in charity work, helping people. I think when I do charity work and help people, it makes me feel good. I think it's part of my passion, and it gives me a cause, a reason.
So quick one here. Of course, this is the business show. Now, in terms of managing time, obviously time is essentially the main thing that everyone requires when starting a business. Some people say there's not enough hours in the day, from what I've heard.
Weirdly, I will say the same. There's not enough hours in the day, and time management is very, very important. And for me, I'd always like to be honest and real. Like I said, I'm on a journey myself. Okay, I'm still learning. I'm still on this process of trying to achieve success. And I think in general, as a success never has an ending to it. You have to continue. Success is step by step, I think. You make one milestone, then achieve another milestone, and it's continuing. As long as you're pursuing success, then you're working towards success, if that makes sense. But so for me, time management, it is a struggle for me, I'll be honest. Okay. It is a massive struggle for me. However, I try my best, main thing is basically educating myself. Educating myself is whenever I can, and it might sound like I do a lot of it, but I try to do much as I can, even though it's very little. Educating myself, what I mean is simple thing as going on YouTube, watching YouTube videos, or motivational videos, or how to be better at time management. How
Tarek,
to be
knowledge is the key. Remember that, bro. It don't matter what you have. If you don't have knowledge, it's great that you do that. But if you don't have knowledge, then you know what? You'll just be where you are, even a year later. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's very good that you go onto YouTube and you're doing what you got to do.
Yeah. 100%. I think, going back in the past, a few years ago now, unfortunately, I didn't know everything I knew today. And no matter what we do, so even if we're not learning something, we're constantly learning something by force. Because whenever we're watching something, so let's say we're sitting there all day watching music videos, watching all these negative things and watching movies about, I don't know, it could be, some people may see Wolf in the Wall Street as a positive thing, Wolf in the Wall Street, Scarface, and all of these types of movies, and you're watching music, and you're watching a lot of negative things. You're actually educating yourself.
So I think what you're saying is essentially we have the opportunity to do something, to watch something which may not be as productive, but if we use that same time to watch and do something productive in benefiting ourselves and improving who we are, it'll overall, like Abu said, learn knowledge. It'll definitely help our overall experience. Maybe not in that moment, but definitely later on in when you gain the practical experience.
I think it definitely has immediate effect because our brain is like a sponge.
Okay.
Even when we're older, it doesn't matter what age we are. What we're seeing, what we are looking at, what we're listening to impacts our hearing. It impacts our thinking. And then what we think, is what we do. Do you get it?
100%.
So sorry, go ahead.
So I just want to touch up on a very important, you made a slight comment, and I just want to touch up on it. You said that it's about giving yourself small milestones. Now, I was reading about atomic habits. It's not about making such a vast changes to your lifestyle. Sometimes you need to, but in accordance with developing success, I read that it's in order to, you develop small habits and you remain consistent with them. Now, Abu, like yourself, when you were starting off your startup business, were you someone who gave yourself small milestones with a long-term game? Like, how did you tackle this? Like, did you notice those habits 100%. Within yourself?
You can't say that overnight you're going to have 100 customers. Our target used to be like, let's try and get 5 customers a month. And then the next month would be 6, and then 10, and then 15, and then 20. And what type of customers? Like before, we used to just go with any sort of customer. So your own local shop, but they weren't as valuable to us in the industry because obviously the more you use in our industry, the more you make. But obviously the less you use is still good, but obviously it doesn't pay bills. So you need bigger users in our industry. So we used to have a target, and when we first started, 1, 2 of us, then 3, 4 of us. Even now, we still have a target that we work towards, and that where we want to be. Individually, as a team and as a business. So this month we've got a team target for the end of May, but we've also got a business target that we've got till the end of December. So you're right. If you don't take small steps and you don't have a target in place, then to be fair, you won't know where you're pushing towards,
So, Abu,
if that makes sense.
100% definitely makes sense. And of course, we can definitely see the growth for yourself as an individual and within your business. Alhamdulillah, Allah bless you, grant you goodness. So if you could give us an exclusive, what habit would you say that you've maintained consistency with in terms of that has helped, would you say that's aided your success? Like what habit could you give us an exclusive?
So what we do regularly is, one, we have a meet every morning. So where we are, what we did yesterday. And then at the end of the week, we'd have a catch up with some drinks and everyone sit around and see where we are. And then at the end of the month, we would do it.
So,
and then obviously me, myself, I would evaluate our business, every month for the previous month. So what did we do against the month prior to that? How was our performance with the amount of stuff that we had in? Did we perform in terms of the numbers that we were after? So we regularly evaluate where we're sitting, because if we don't do that, we could get left behind. And at the same time, not just numbers, we also evaluate business methods. So we have to change with the times. Before we used to use Excel spreadsheets, now we're trying to use databases. Does that make sense?
100%.
Because if you don't change with time, what happens is you get left behind.
Yeah.
If you don't employ people, example, in our business, and you don't make those calls, then eventually what happens is you get left behind because business is closed down, someone might poach them and so forth. So you have to be proactive in what we do, and I'm sure Tarek would probably agree and all, in terms of what he's doing. If he wasn't, motivating people and telling people, obviously, that he provides an accountancy services or he does GBS claims, if he wasn't doing it, in his network group, then it's very hard to get the leads that he's after. Wouldn't you agree, Tarek?
Yeah, 100%. You have to.
So you always have to be proactive with your business, and for us, for our business, how we do it, bro, we have to be on it. If we're not on it, we'd get left behind to get it. Because obviously ours is heavy wage bills, obviously heavy expenses, so we have to be making sure constantly, all the time, we keep assessing where we are so we don't get left behind.
So with these habits that you've demonstrated, which you've explained to us in terms of, reevaluating, looking at problems, speaking with your team members, what would you say the impact, the effect of that? What's been the pros and cons in terms of when you're managing a team, when you're for yourself, like what have you seen which has been a benefit?
You know what it is? One is not a team, it's a family. I said that before.
Okay.
That's how I treat my guys that work with us. So what happens is, they give us more in terms of loyalty and in terms of delivery. And secondly, money is a motivator for anyone. So anything that we do, we always have a money motivator for them, which means then they've got a bit of a motivation to say, look, I want to deliver. Which means then it's bums on seats, phones on ears, and then all of a sudden you see delivery. But not every day you're going to count golden chickens. So today you may do great, and then tomorrow you could be dry. That's the business frame. That's our business model. Because obviously we're not a takeaway organization, we're not a news agent or whatever where you come in and buy goods. So ours is based on contact, getting hold of people, offering them the service and then taking it from there.
Tariq, what's your
Alhamdulillah.
So yes, Brother Abu. So the other question I have for you now, obviously, Brother Zain asked you about the current habit you have to maintain the business. But what habits were needed before the business came to bloom? Before everything was working, before the process came into place.
Discipline, bro. Discipline with yourself, with your lifestyle, with your mindset. So, waking up in the morning, making sure you're at work. Office open at 9, you're there at 8:30 to get it. So, making sure that you're not making 100 calls, you're making 120 calls.
So, quick one for you, Abu. Sorry to interrupt. Like, do you know what? Just a question. Because it's a business show. What I want, and we have a wide audience. There's some people out there who struggle to get up in the morning, who they don't have the motivation. So, what would you say about that in terms? Because you seem
who's going to pay the bills? Who's going to pay the bills? Hey, Tarek, who's going to pay your mortgage or your rent, or who's going to provide for your kids, or who's going to take your family on holiday and stuff like that? It's not about that. Sometimes everyone has to fix up, because there's only so much you can, loaf the streets or do what you want to do. If you want to provide a better lifestyle for your family, you want to make sure that you eat the good foods, and you can take your kids to an outlet and buy some clothes or whatever you need to do. You need to wake up. It's simple as that. You need to say, I want to make this business a success. It don't matter what business it is, No one initially starts a business or a job just to go and chill. To get it, everyone does it because it means the rosy that they bring in at the end of it is being utilized to pay bills, isn't it? To get it. So all of us do something
Brother
because
Abu,
we've all got
sorry to
commitments and
disturb.
expenses.
We're about to go on a quick break right now, and we should be back shortly, Brother Abu, and inshallah we'll continue with that. Yep.
That's fine, no problem. Okay, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. At Ramadan Radio 87.9 FM. It is the business show with Zain, myself Zain, Tarek, and our guest Abu Sacranie. If you want to text in, please text in to 07748855055, or you can get at us on with our WhatsApp or social media, which is Ramadan FM. So we've been, for the past, in our first section, we were talking about businesses, the motivation, the inspiration required, what it's taken to start up a business. Now let's actually get down to the nitty gritty, Tarek, in terms of starting a business. Okay. So, I mean yourself, now let's talk from the position of someone who's not got any qualifications and he wants to start a business. You know, like, what was, from your own personal experiences, how did you get into it? Like, what was the factors? What did you take into account for yourself that you thought, let me go out and do this?
Yeah, firstly, what I had to change was my mindset. Before I got into the business initially, it's been a long, hard journey, okay? But before I got into it, I had to change my mindset, literally. My mindset was different before. Before, everything was, what about if this doesn't work? What about if that doesn't work? Oh, I can't be asked to do the hard work. I can't be asked to do sales. I don't want to do sales. I just want easy money. Do you get it? Or look at all these people, you know, or they probably started off. The parents probably had money, so they had a head start. You know, I was always living in that blaming game, you know, or feel sorry for me, that blaming game, or others got the opportunity and I don't. But so at a point in my life, all of that changed for me, where I started to realize, wait a second, whatever I want to achieve, whatever I want to do with my life is up to me. And I can either complain about it, continue to complain about it, or make use of what I have and do shukr to Allah and try my best. And I know as long as I try my best, you know, it's meant to be.
Alhamdulillah.
But we have to be sure that we are trying our best. You get it? We have to keep trying. If one day we fail to try our best, we try again. Okay. Now, I'm very open with things anyway. To everyone listening as well. So for me, bro, Zain, what it is, going back a few years, unfortunately, I was living the lifestyle the wrong way. Now, I don't think that's something to be proud of or be amazed by, even though I've changed. Because number one, I believe for people not to go the wrong way from the beginning and stay on the right path and do the right thing is harder than anything. And that's more applaudable than anything. You know, 100%, the people who stayed out of trouble from the beginning, they should get more, you know, they should get more, what do you call it, more, what's the word for it?
Applause.
Yeah, of course. And of course,
recognition.
Yeah, and of course, and I feel like people like myself who have changed their life around, yes, it is good, okay, but a
little side question, not related directly to business, but why do you think that is? Why do you think we applaud the people who have and I will relate this back to the business, but why do you think we applaud people who are who have stayed away from certain things? But more so we look up to people who are involved in the wrong, and sadly that is the culture that we do have in our communities, where people who are doing wrong and not doing things in the right way and doing business in the right way, they're more looked up to than people who weren't involved in that.
Well, depends what where we are as
depends who's looking at it, innit?
Who's looking at it. So some people will look at that as you know, that's disgusting.
So what you're saying is be around the right group of circles that's going to motivate your ambition in the right way. Yes.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Now, you know, I want to go back to it. Not that I'm trying to downplay anyone who has changed their life around. It does take hardship, you know, for someone to be involved, you know, deep inside, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's drug selling, or whether, you know, living the wrong way. It is hard to get out of that. But ultimately, I believe is the mindset. It's ultimately, I believe, is what we're looking at, what we're teaching ourselves, you know. And then ultimately, it's about what we are doing with what we have. Okay, are we making use of it? So going back now, like I said, I was always in a thing where I was thinking, now, you know what, to start a business, you need lots of money. Without lots of money, it's not possible. Or to get a good job, I need a degree. I didn't get a degree now, so I'm going to be the failure. So constantly, I was talking down myself.
Okay.
Constantly, I was my own worst enemy. Okay. Whenever I had something to do, so let's say, for example, if I decided, you know, I want to quit everything and I want to go get a job and just get a normal life, in my mind was telling me, why do you want to get a normal job for? You know, why do you want to get 9 to 5? You know what? All these other people, they've got advantages. They had the opportunity. They had their family's money. or they probably made some money from somewhere, or they've got that degree. Do you get it? And I was telling myself, it's not going to be possible for you, so don't even think about it. But one day, alhamdulillah, I managed to break free from that cycle, and that was the most hardest bit. And the one day I realized, wait a second, you know what? I've got the whole world, in front of me. I can do whatever I want with my life. Who said I need money to start up a business? Okay. Who said? I think one of my motivations is that I wanted to help people. Okay. Who said you need money to help people? Because if you can't help people with, if you don't have money to give, you can give time. When I started realizing that, that's when my life changed completely.
Alhamdulillah. So, in terms of like obviously the actual business, like first of course, now you're saying you had to develop a mindset. You changed the mindset.
That's right.
We can see that. That's brilliant. Now, in terms of the idea, where did that come about? How did you fall into it?
The idea came from initially,
because you're in claims, right? GBS claims.
In terms of the business aspect of things, I don't really promote it too much on public platforms. I'll do it on my own platform. Okay. But on the public platforms, I'm always trying to promote. Yeah.
But just talk about the idea. How did you fall into it?
Okay. So the business idea itself, I came into again after I realized I don't need any money to start a business. Who said I need it? Who said I need a degree? Okay. Who said I need money? I can do it without anything. Okay?
What did you do?
And how I did it was I learned that people. So number one, I realized that businesses always need customers. Okay. People, consumers, customers always need someone they can rely on. Okay. Even though, so one of my skill sets was, even though I was living life the wrong way in the past, one skill set I had was to be reliable to people. I'd never do people over. Okay. And I'll be good to them. You get it? So that trait, I use that. I always say, so people who are ringing me for advice, saying, oh bro, I've got this situation, what do I do?
Yeah.
And from that, so initially it started off with people used to ring me after they had an accident. I said, listen bro, I've had an accident. I need to sort some forms, fill out some forms and stuff. Can you help me? And from there I realized, wait a second, yes, I can help you. I used to help people for free.
Okay.
Okay. And then from there I got a contract with solicitors. So all I was doing was just technically helping people, and the solicitors used to pay me.
So when you say you got a contract for solicitors,
it's like a point of contact. Tarek is like a point of contact. If you need anything sorted, then you would think, oh, let me use Tarek because obviously he's got connections in terms of getting it sorted for you.
Yeah. So you utilize your network and monetized it to kind of develop yourself into what it is.
Yeah. So my mindset always was to get into something that I can help people at the same time make some money from it.
100%.
Okay, and that's how I built. But main thing is what I think is more more important to highlight that if we want to achieve anything, we have to be down to put the graft. Now, before I got into the business, and before I became a youth worker, before I got into the charity sector fully, and being involved and being able to help thousands of people every year in Bangladesh. Before all of that, I had to put in the graft. Okay, and I think many people, even like myself, back in the day, we wasn't willing to make that sacrifice. We wasn't willing to go pay the price. And that price you don't have to pay by money only. You can pay the price by time. So how I became a youth worker was I literally volunteered for a year. Okay. So I believe anybody in this world, they can get any job they want. They can start up any business they want, as long as they're willing to pay the price, and it doesn't have to be money.
So just a quick one, just to elaborate. So what you're saying is understand what your skill set is.
Okay.
Understand what tools you have going for you.
Yeah.
And try your best to make it work for yourself with the right mindset. Abu, what would you say about that?
What Tarek's been saying is on point in terms of what he's saying. Sometimes it's the mindset. Do you get it? Sometimes you don't need the money in terms of, depends on what kind of business you're doing. Obviously, some businesses you do need money, but it's the mindset, innit? If you've got that will and don't get me wrong, there's a lot that have got the mindset, but their businesses don't work. Are you with me? It's not that they're doing anything wrong. It's not that they're failures, but their business just never worked. And maybe it wasn't for them at that time. But if you don't have the mindset, if you don't feel like, you know what, you can get out of bed, you want to be successful, you want to work hard, you know what, you want to make sure that whatever you're into, you're going to give it 110%, then there's no reason in the world you're going to be successful if you don't have that sort of mindset.
100%. So
I think what Tarek's saying is on point.
100%, I agree. So what you're saying is that because of your skill set, the mindset, it was then became recognized within the community, within your next works of the service that you're doing. And you mentioned the contract solicitor lawyers. So then did that just come out of nowhere, or what? How did
that actually came as I was working along, and I was always looking to progress. I'm always looking for opportunity. So in general, with anything in life, if you're looking for help and if you ask for help, we have a chance of getting help. If we're looking for opportunity, we can identify opportunities. So if we have no intention to look for opportunities, if we have no intention to help ourselves, nobody can help ourselves, and nobody can, or you'd rarely get any opportunities.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. So I think in that sense, you have to have the willpower. And again, for me to get that willpower in the first place, I had to come out of the toxic habits I used to have. What I was listening to, what I was watching, all of that. I had to stop all of that. And what helped me ultimately was Islam. I turned to Allah, and asked Allah to guide me. And from there, that ultimately helped me, because that gave me structure. Because one passage I read somewhere is that no matter where you are in life, as long as you're worshipping Allah, you're exactly where He wants you to be.
Definitely.
And that has helped me all throughout, through ups and downs. You get it? Especially in the downs, when you feel like I've messed up now, and then you think, you know what? As long as I'm worshipping Allah and as long as I'm trying my best, I am exactly where Allah wants me to be. And we all make mistakes,
So I got a question for you,
yeah.
Tarek. Like Abu mentioned, people can have this mindset, they can have the right habits, they can have the work ethic, but sometimes the business doesn't work out. What would you say about? Because I'm sure even within yourself, you've fallen down. Sometimes businesses or startup ventures haven't worked. So what have you done?
Well, look, end of the day, with anything, as long as you give it your best, it doesn't mean it wasn't successful. It doesn't mean you failed, because you tried your best, and guess what? From there, you can learn a lesson. Okay, and that experience, that lesson, you can use for yourself in another business, or you can help others. But ultimately, I think I'd rather go bed, and know that I tried. So it's like saving someone's life. Imagine you were to, and that's how deep it is. Imagine you were to see someone killed in front of you. Okay, now if you didn't do anything to save that person, you'll be going to sleep thinking every day, maybe I could have saved that person. Maybe if I did this, maybe if I did that. And you know what? I was tired of the maybes in my life. Yeah. Do you get it? Or if only if, and only if that, and only if this, and only if I had money. Oh, this ghetto mentality, some of us have, from that toxic environment. Or only if I had 10 grand. If I had 10 grand, everything will be okay. I can do this business, I can do that business.
So you need to try. You need to try to know if it's successful or not. But if it doesn't work, what you will understand is business is not made for everyone. Not everyone can be an entrepreneur. Not everyone can be a businessman. It doesn't mean just because you're a businessman, you can be a businessman. To get it? It don't work like that. Some people are destined to be good at what they do. Some people may be great managers, maybe great customer service advisors, maybe great nurses, maybe great, any other skill apart from being a businessman. Doesn't mean that you have to be a businessman. But what Tarek's saying is, and I agree on it, if you want something and you've got an idea and you think, this business is a great opportunity for me, and maybe it can work, then at least give it a go. Because the last thing you want is time flies by, then you think, I wish I did this. I wish I did this, because then you see someone else open it, and then you think, whoa, this is now so successful, and this was my idea.
Yeah. I think, what Brother Abu just said now. So again, when we're talking about successful, to be successful, you don't have to be a business owner or entrepreneur. No. You can be a successful person just by doing the job you do currently. You can be a successful person working in the warehouse. It's no problem. It's cool. Do you get it? You can achieve success by just following your career or doing your degree. Whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever you need to do. Okay? You can be successful in that. So I'm not necessarily saying
it has to be directly
you have
related
to be business. No. Yeah. So this is what I mentioned earlier. What I'm trying to say is anybody in this whole world, and especially living in the West, in UK, we can, if we work hard enough, we can become anybody who we want to be. 100%. And I'm saying that the reason is, look, my background, unfortunately, obviously I'm live on air, but again, I'm open. I'm working with solicitors, okay? But I don't have no qualifications. I've not even finished school. I've not even finished college. Do you get it? And I have many other issues in the background, okay, that wouldn't allow me to get into law. But solicitors need me, okay, in order to be able to get them help, okay? Alhamdulillah, I'll give you another example.
Listen, Tarek, while you're saying that, everyone, regardless of where you are, everyone needs a fresh start. Yeah. So you can't judge a book by its cover. there's people that were criminals and now are most successful businessmen that you can get, or sports stars, or
So
celebrities.
I've got
and vice versa. Does that make sense?
100%. So I've got a question for you. Like, for example, sometimes the mindset of an individual is that, you know, oh, my past mistakes or my past problems, oh, it will stop me. So how would you, Tarek, how would you go about that? Abu, yourself as well. Like, for someone who's got that mindset in terms of lingering in the past and feeling the past may affect the decisions they make in the future, how does someone tackle that?
For me, I would say it's about positive thinking. You know, it's about, number one, asking Allah for forgiveness, number one. And number two is forgiving yourself. Lot of the time, we don't forgive ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves and give ourselves a fresh start, like Abu just mentioned. Everybody deserves a fresh start. And guess what? Ultimately, you know who deserves the most fresh start? Yourself. You know, who deserves the most applaud out of everyone is yourself, because through hard times, you was there with yourself. So number one, a lot of the time I think we're too hard on ourselves. You know, so we have to be good to ourselves. Once we're good to ourselves, once we're kind to ourselves, because you know, if you're constantly pushing yourself down, like you've not done this, you've not done that, it's hard to, do you get it? Rise up.
Sorry, Abu, did you?
Look, if you want an opportunity, then you have to take the risk. So example, perfect for you, Zain, look, you've got a job or whatever you're doing, but if worse comes to worse, to put food on the table, what would you do? You'd do anything, wouldn't you?
100%, of course.
There you go. So the other flip question to what you were just saying a second ago, that people obviously that have had criminal records or whatever, what can happen? What's the worst thing that can happen to you if you knocked on someone's door and said, give me an opportunity? What can happen?
Very true. I think that's the right mindset. What's the worst?
All that can happen is the person will say no to you. Yeah, but then the next person might say no to you, but someone will give you a chance. 100%, someone might open a door for you. There'll be someone out there that will say, you know what, this person actually really good at this. And a perfect example is we've got someone in our business that used to have a addiction problem. And he's a really good guy. We treat him as a brother, but he went through turmoil. And when he first started working with us, you would have thought this guy's perfectly fine. But we gave him a chance. We took a risk on him. But 7 years later, he is still with us, and now he's one of our best employees. Do you get it? Before he was homeless from house to house. Now he's got his own flat, which is worth 250 grand. Fair enough, he's on mortgage, he's doing what he's got to do, but look where he's grown in 7 years. But because someone gave him a chance. So at that time, it was in our nasib that we gave him a chance. Allah blessed us to give him a chance then. But there's so many people like that someone wants to help someone, and initially you don't know what they're going through. When you give them an opportunity, it opens up more doors. That kind of worms, isn't it? Then all of a sudden you realize where they are. But doesn't mean that there's no hope for no one. There's hope for everyone. So like Tarek saying, it doesn't matter if you've got a criminal record. It doesn't matter if you're someone from the hood. It doesn't matter, you know what, if you haven't got no qualifications. It doesn't matter if you're the best or the most educated person in the world, but now you want to open a business. If you feel you've got the desire, you've got the passion, you've got the motivation, you think, you know what, I've got the mindset that I can make a success, and regardless of what you want to do, what you have to do is make that effort, take that first step. And then hopefully you'll see the benefits of knocking on these doors and people opening up doors for you, so you can have an opportunity at whatever you want to do.
Okay, guys, I think we're coming towards the end of the show. We've got last 10 seconds left. I'd like to say thank you very much to everyone that listened and tuned in. And I think my final message would be is work full-time and work on your dreams part-time. until your dreams pay you more.
Assalamu alaikum.